In today's fast-paced real estate landscape, success demands more than surface-level expertise. It requires insight, adaptability, proven strategies, discipline, and the ability to take risk. The Agent Brew podcast blends candid conversations with wisdom from industry leaders who've walked the path before you. Think of us as your strategic pit stop to fuel your real estate journey. From the crossroads of the world in the heart of Times Square, welcome to the Agent Brew, a podcast that percolates real estate insights. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger of Realty Co. Welcome and thank you for tuning in for another week as we listen and learn from a real estate agent that has navigated and maneuvered the real estate industry. And we learned from their wins, their losses, and play a little bit of the gratitude game. This week, we welcome Gerald Germany of Compass. Gerald, it's so good to see you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be a part of this. You're actually the first podcast I've ever been on.
Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. We've had several people this season. You're still part of season one, the inaugural season. And they told me that, you're my first podcast. And then, now podcasts aren't just audio, they're video. No. So it's a whole new world all about content. And I'm just happy that Realty Co. can provide something that, really is an opportunity for agents like you to tell their story, but also, say what differentiates you.
Yeah.
Because everybody's story is different, especially in real estate, because some people come to it when they're young, some people come to it when they're old, but it's really how every person is able to maximize the tools and talent and take it to the next level. So, Gerald, with that, why don't you give us your elevator pitch? I know you're from New York City, but let us know, what is your business today? We can go back and talk about how you got started, but...
Well, my business today, I'm at Compass. I've been there 4 months now, which is a big
4 months.
Change. Yeah, it's very exciting. It's amazing. The management, the tools, the technology, it's made me about 50% more efficient, literally. But I started my career 23 years ago at Corcoran, and I was there 16 years. And then I followed my good buddy and industry leader, Scott Durkin, over to Douglas Elliman. I was there 6 years, and time for change. And I'm excited to be at Compass.
Fantastic. So your market is just Manhattan, or do you service other areas too?
I'd say it's Manhattan. No, everyone wants to say
Okay.
Brooklyn, but I haven't done a deal in Brooklyn in like 8 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are New York, Compass, and are you primarily resales? Do you do new development? Do you do commercial? It's all residential?
Mine's all residential. Probably a 70-30 split of listing agents, 70%, buy side, about 30%. And, my business partner is Susan Sears. I can't leave that out. She's also a legend in the field.
She is a legend. I love her dearly. She's so fantastic. I've known you guys for so many years because I started at Corcoran 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember early on meeting you. I think maybe it was through Durkin or Larkin. Yeah, it was just, wow. The business is not the same.
No, it's changed.
Because the business back then, I feel like I have to get my walker out. There were no teams 23 years ago.
Yeah.
Everybody just kind of collaborated here or there, but there were no set teams or mega teams. And marketing back in the year 2000, 2001 was basically Barbara Corcoran on top of a taxi cab talking about the Corcoran Report and this new Corcoran.com. Or it was her doing Rosemary Clooney Come On to My House on CNBC, right?
Well, it's funny, marketing does work and the mailers work. I still do a part of that. But I share that because I will have people that will pull out a flyer from 15 years ago, and I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, where did that come from? I made that. It's like a PowerPoint page. No, it's actually a Word document with cut and paste with blocks of text and photos.
I recently found an old document, like an old file, And I was so embarrassed. Like when I started at Corcoran at 23, at 25, I taught myself the Microsoft suite. I didn't know, Word. I just played around with it and I thought it looked pretty. And, I'm inputting all these, I'm embedding these photos that are like way too large and the document won't, load up. But it was funny at that point. I knew how to do borders on a Word document and
Yeah.
I was a genius. I was a pro at this.
Well, when you learn how to make them thicker and with color, mind was
Wow,
blown.
blown away, right? Like
Yeah.
crazy. Wow, the industry's come a long way. Thank goodness for that. So I guess this is a great segue. What are you doing differently today that you didn't do before? That is a driver of your business.
Well, what I'm doing today is I'm in coaching with Tom Ferry,
Ah,
and
okay.
I've been doing that.
And how many years have you been doing that?
I just finished like maybe it's been a year and a half,
Okay.
and I did a year right as COVID was beginning, I was ending, so I just paused it then. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt, that's really been a big had a big effect on my business.
And what would you say is if you had two big takeaways from getting a coach, what would it be?
Well, I think everyone, regardless of their job, needs a coach. They hold you mainly one accountable to what you're doing, and you can progress weekly and monthly. I do once a week coaching, and am I doing what I said I'm going to do? A business plan. I mean, a lot of people think they have a business plan, but they really don't until they sit down and write it out. But the number one thing, you can take coaching all the way. I was talking to one of Josh Rubin's team members a few months ago. End of the day, make your calls. The first 10 years of I was in this, if I just would have made my calls, I'd be sitting in a different world. It's
Put in the work, do the work,
Yeah,
right?
just
Like,
and for me, I've learned with my coach, Janet Miller, she's great. Uh, Time blocking. I'm using time blocking a
yeah.
lot, and I have to have that's my respect, my time hour. Uh, I have my working in the business and my working on the business, and that 2 hour time is sacred to me. And I still right now, as I'm speaking this, I'm not doing enough calling to reach out.
No, it's really important. And I love time blocking, although I find that I ignore myself a lot because I'll be so focused and driven, because we're so passion driven. Like, wait, no, I've got to do this. I'm really in a good work flow
Yeah.
and I don't want to end it. Um, so I guess let's dial it back.
Yes, I have some more things about what I'm doing with the technology. We can talk about AI agents and that stuff later as we come up.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to get to that later as far as the future and how you're utilizing all of that. But I'm curious. Let's go back. Let's go back in time.
Okay.
To
A much simpler time.
yes. And I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. I have 5 siblings there, and my dad is there. I'm coming up on my mom's 1 year anniversary of her passing away this coming month of June.
I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah, thank you. She had a great life, and she went the best way she was praying the rosary for an hour with the deacon, and she had communion, and that's those 2 things were really important to her. So 2 hours later, she passed. Yeah,
Wow.
and I have really had a great every year I do a fishing tour with my dad and my four brothers, and I just came back last week after spending 6 days with him, and my dad's gonna be 93, so it's really a gift. And
Wow.
you really learn to appreciate things, I think, as you get older.
Hmm.
People and things. Life is fleeting, it's very fragile, whether someone is in their 20s or 90s. You just never really know. So I think my
Right.
mom's passing made this last trip extra special.
But you don't take it for granted, right? You soak up every second.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and that Omaha thing, I think one of your questions was how has it shaped me and helped me?
Yeah.
Well, I played football. I don't know if did I mention I played football at the University of Nebraska. I was an offensive lineman. And
Wow. I
yeah,
mean, you're built like it, right? Like I just always remember the first time meeting you, I'm like, wow, are you a football player?
yeah. Well, what it does, it instilled in me a lot of discipline in order to play at that level and get that level. You have to be disciplined. Um, but just that Nebraska brand of corn-fed and honest and integrity, I kind of play into that on my pitches, and I think I'm authentic. people have an idea of the Midwest and honesty and I try
I'm
to.
from the Midwest, and I have to say it's I played the role well, because we come with a different set of values, and work ethic.
Yeah, I don't think we're playing the role. I think we're just kind of leaning into it
Yeah.
and talking more about. There's a great interest in it. Like, really, what was it like growing up in Nebraska? Is that hay behind your ear? I actually grew up in Omaha, which is the river boundary in the Missouri between Iowa and Nebraska. Omaha's a big city.
So then what brought you to New York?
Well, I graduated. I could have gone to Denver, Houston, or Toronto and built a call center for the Gallup poll, the polling
Ah,
organization. 2 years before I graduated, I had worked off and on there as a telephone market researcher, not a telemarketer. There's a difference. Everyone, 99% of Gallup's name recognition is the Gallup poll, and they do, it's big at the presidential elections.
yeah. And back then, it was like 20, 25 years ago. Technology was very different.
Oh, the methodology is just it's hard. It's impossible. People don't have landlines. They don't answer their cell phones, and it's fallen down. In the last election cycle, you can see the accuracy is the margin of error is widening quite a bit. But yeah, so I went to Toronto. I wanted to get out of town, as they say. And I went up there and built a call center. And about a year and a half into it, it was all up and running, doing great. They wanted to unionize. And our executives in back in the States, in Lincoln, Nebraska, and Princeton, New Jersey, they didn't want that. So we actually shut down the call center. And that's where I was the marketing director in Canada. And then I moved after 3 years, 3.5 years, my time was up there, and I had to move back to States. And I went to Princeton, which is the global headquarters of Gallup. And I was the first director of marketing there. And then I did that for a few years, and then I opened up the New York City office with another partner. Or I shouldn't say partner, another executive. And not long after, maybe 9 months there, I got wooed away by a headhunter. And I had been working there since high school and then parts of college, and I only knew one company. So I took the leap, and I went to work for this company, and it was a small interactive ad agency. Yeah, and we helped pharmaceutical companies build their patient and therapy and disease sites, have them collect data information. A browser window would pop up like every nth visitor, and it would give the marketing directors of a number of different drugs or the site administrator information about what's going on. So I built that up with the 15 local pharmaceuticals around here. It was great at building that database, which I used a lot, going into real estate. And then they wanted to take away my guaranteed bonus, so I sued them. Let me speed this up. And they did this to two other people. No one sued them, and I won. And they used it to buy my co-op. It's a down payment
Oh my
here,
gosh!
here in
Wow.
Chelsea.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny, things that you never hear of. I was able to do it with 15% now. And I was able to, Gil Neary, he passed away, God rest
Yes.
his soul.
Hmm.
Gil Neary, my best friend in Canada was Gil Neary's best friend. And back then, my closing costs were like Gil shell game lending me $20,000. And after the closing, I gave it back to him. But it was a wild,
Wow.
wild west back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you came into the business. Why real estate? You did your own deal, and you thought, oh, I can do this.
Well, I wanted to be my own boss. And I was just, I wanted to be entrepreneurial, and I heard about these agents making money, and I'd see some of them walking down the street, some kind of flamboyant and crazy suits. I have color ring glasses, and I have like 4 different colored seersuckers. And I could see myself kind of living that lifestyle. And as I looked more and more, and of course came to experience and believe, it was an 80-20 rule. 80% of the agents are lazy. I don't mean to disparage I shouldn't disparage. At the time, at the time in my head, 80% of them are dumb or lazy. It's like the 20% rule. 20% of us are really doing all the business and treating it like a business with P&Ls and marketing and different people working in the different departments. But yeah, I made that leap, and what helped me is someone told me is it would help if you owned in your co-op or condo. So I owned in my co-op, and I immediately got listings right away.
That's like, I think that is the most understated hack, for real estate professionals, right? Sell what you know.
Yeah.
And I saw it early on, actually with the Sample Powers team. Um, uh, Elizabeth Sample and Brenda Powers, because they were living at the new Knickerbocker, which now it's a much older building at 72nd and Third Avenue.
Okay.
But it was a brand new construction, like at the year 2000, and they moved in and they owned that building, and they got so many of the newer listings.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, they moved to Time Warner Center, and that became their new. They didn't give up really any business in the other
Yeah.
in the other building because they were already there. So you, at an early age, you saw immediately how to make business.
Yeah, well, it helps the presence. People want to work with people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
But being around it and having them getting to know you, that's a lot of the rapport and trust would come in.
Great. So coming into the business, any mentors that you would like to mention?
Oh, yeah, I would say Scott Durkin has been very influential, always been a leader. I think he brings a level of compassion and extreme intelligence to it. I think what attracts agents and what attracted me to work with him and more to Douglas Elliman is it's his authenticity and truly, really interested in what the agent needs and can even anticipate that. But focused in on you. Like, when someone's not really focusing, a manager that's not really listening. But yeah, Scott's great, and he has a huge following. I'd say Barbara Corcoran also. I think I came into the company and she sold it 6 months later, even 24 years.
Yeah, she sold it September, right before September 11th, because she announced it at that meeting in 2001. I remember. Because the market wasn't doing well in 2021. That summer was like crickets. It took everything to get deals done. And then 9/11 happened and boom. Sorry, 2001.
Yeah, you're right. Because I came in and I don't know if you remember. Do you remember her going away party at Chelsea Piers?
Yes, she was on a horse.
Well, I was the one that got her off the boat with Frank Persisepi because we were two big guys, and we were both wearing dark. I had my CIA or my what's the presidential detail? The
Secret Service.
He and I, we walked her down somewhere in Chelsea Piers into the place.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was like her big farewell event, right? It was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Always so much fun.
And who else? Teresa Hall.
Were you at 660 Madison, or were you in the downtown office?
I was in Soho.
Oh, Soho, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
and then I moved up
Gene Martinez.
And then I moved up to Gene was my manager before I moved up to 19th Street, and then they moved over to 18th Street.
And Scott was your manager there, right? He ran that Chelsea office.
Yep. But Teresa Hall, just I think what I get from her was the patience and calmness. She's always very calm when she's speaking in front of her group.
Yeah.
And
but always very animated, right? Like she always held your attention.
Yeah.
But it was or always holds your attention. And
she's a great public speaker. Yeah, but
she is.
You'd always walk away feeling better having heard her speak.
Absolutely. So this leads us to, any wins during your career that stand out and are important to you, and why?
Well, I would say when I left Corcoran and went over to Elliman, was creating a team. And I went over there with 3 people and Susan, and we developed it. Teams come and go. Talent attacks talent. It's really hard to keep people too.
Yeah.
Like my guy was John Campbell, and he was great. I wish I had like 4 of them. But in the end, when I went over to Compass recently, it was just me and Susan, and I had to take some inventory and think to myself, you know what? I don't want to have a team. I want to have a team. Me and Susan are it. If we get 1 or 2 great agents along the way, great. No rush. I don't want, what I meant is I don't want a larger team. I don't want 3, 4, 8 people. You know,
It's a lot of responsibility.
a lot of responsibility. It costs a lot of money, and you only end up, I don't think you don't end up making such a difference. For me, it's quality of life. I don't also want to work that much,
Yeah.
and that's okay. So that was a big and great learning and stuff that I still use today. And I'd say that, and any deals. I said I wouldn't say they're wins, but deals that stand out. You know, I'm working towards my certification with the Senior Society of Senior Planners, which helps them with you get certified and be able to help them with a number of different things senior related. And Compass has Compass Plus. Have we been
Okay.
doing this 20 minutes already? How are we doing on time?
We're fine.
Okay, so Compass Plus, yeah, and I had someone on the Upper East Side. I helped her sell her townhouse. The day of the closing, there were garbage bags on every floor, and the basement hadn't been cleaned out. I must have carried out like 40 bags,
Wow.
black trash bags, and she was in a hard place.
Yeah.
But it felt good to help her, helping her kind of move on to the next phase. And another one, a few years ago down at the Stewart House, an owner that was close to 96. She was the only owner. She bought it 64 years ago from floor plans at 70 East 10th Street. She took great care of that apartment. But yeah, for me, there's a lot of intrinsic value in just helping somebody
hmm
at that
Oh, it's the
age.
story, right? The story behind it, because
Yeah,
there's just so many great stories everywhere if you just stop to look or listen and hear them.
but there's a lot of people related to older people when you're helping them sell. It's the estate, the trust. It's the daughter and sons, and the grandkids. So some of them are different levels of need and support, and it's fun. It's rewarding to help them get on to where they need to go next.
Well, and we are a service industry, right? Like that is the cornerstone. Is what kind of service, what kind of person are you that, your brand that people will remember.
Absolutely, yeah.
So any transformational losses?
In real estate or in my life?
Well, you know what? It could be, personal, because personal does drive business sometimes.
Hmm.
As we went to that one event that Barbara Corcoran brought in, or maybe it was Pam. It's not business; it's always personal.
Exactly, it is. Yes.
So, sometimes something that happens in your personal life then drives your professional life. So, I'm leaving it open ended. Anything that you would say that was a loss, but it ultimately was a win for you.
That's deep. Well, I guess I wouldn't be here today if I didn't get injured playing football when I was a redshirt sophomore at Nebraska. And at that time, I was struggling with being gay, and I needed to have an operation, a very simple one that I had one in high
hmm
school. And I used that as an excuse to kind of step out. And I knew that I could take this job in Toronto if I had to, a few years down the road. Actually, I left there and I went to Arizona. A couple of my friends' parents had houses in Tempe, and then I ended up coming back in Nebraska. But yeah, I mean, it instilled in me the thought or idea that I never want to give up on anything again. But looking back, we all have our story. I wouldn't say it so much as I gave up as I was scared. I had never been anywhere else. And I believed a lot of the misconceptions and stereotypes and lies. I thought I was a freak. I didn't know anyone. I had no role models. I'm sure it'd be much different growing up in California or on the East Coast somewhere. But yeah, that's kind of what drove me to Arizona and then back to Omaha and graduating, going out of town to Toronto and moving to Princeton. I would not be in New York City today. What do they call it? Is it the butterfly effect? Some little random small
Right.
thing? It's weird. I don't know. I don't know where I'd be. I mean, I don't see how any other way I'd make it to New York City. So that loss was a win. And I guess like I said, what's a big win part of that is just having no regrets, and just when you choosing a path on an assignment or a project, just going in all in and not giving up on that.
So over your 23, 24 year career, um, today, what are your biggest challenges?
My biggest challenges today is staying. I love this, staying focused and making my calls. It's hard to get distracted
Yeah.
and get bogged down in the day-to-day stuff of our business and kind of letting go and handing it over. I just hired an assistant, and everyone talks about things, and you've had things you're passionate about, and you tell people you got to do this. No, you don't understand. And people have been saying that to me for years, and I'm like, in 3 weeks, I'm like, where was this guy? Why didn't I do this sooner? So that's really that's been life changing for my business. It gives me an extra skip in my step, and it makes me want to get up this last month
Yeah.
and just get things going because there's a lot more freedom in having that person do that. So I can focus on what's really important is prospecting and talking to the clients.
So you mentioned earlier about AI.
Yeah.
Are you leveraging AI going forward to helping you prospect and get leads?
I'm using it in a way that yes, in being on this podcast and talking to you about it and a couple other people, I'm going to be doing my own podcast.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
yeah, so what I'm doing is I kind of don't know what I'm doing. And the thing about AI is it's changing weekly, definitely monthly. These large language models are jumping each other. But I'm building my own artificial intelligent agent, and it's called Germany Sears Team Agent. And I'm using ChatGPT to give me the code prompts, and I'm creating it through a website application called N8M, and it deals with just nodes. You don't have to code them, but you can just draw lines to connect them. And ChatGPT can tell you what to put into the code. So the kind of how would you say it? The overall goal is, I have it right here, a custom AI powered automation system that streamlines my New York City business, covering marketing reports, content creation, and more. And the framework is using what I said, that N8N is the workflow engine to connect the data sources, like pulling data from the Fed.
Yeah.
I've already used an API and I'm pulling that data in. And then it had the naming convention. I mentioned a parent, and then they have specialized modules or spokes, if you will. Those are called children. So I built my first child, which is which is my market data agent, and I have four more to go. It was really challenging. It was a lot of fun just getting that far. Like, I'm only 20% done. My coach made me pull back, so I was spending so much time on that. Literally, like 4 hours to get one thing to work.
Oh my
But it's
gosh.
invaluable. It's kind of fun, and I can say that I was there during
Yeah.
AI, and I'm one of the first agents. I don't know any agents that build their own custom agent yet, but it's coming, and people have got to leverage it. Things were so different than they were 5 years ago, and everything I'm doing is tied to AI and how I can leverage it for social media. The other children is a real estate trends agent, and that's going to analyze the data that I pull in, and it's going to feed different insights to my parent agent, and then I have a podcast expert agent, so to generate scripts, help me come up with different show notes, and things like Riverside. I didn't know about Riverside. It has a whole different plan, checklist of what to do. And then I have a fifth coaching call analyst. And one of those, I'm sorry, I missed one, was the content creator agent. So that's what makes it all
Ah,
come together. It takes from those four children and creates the
right.
content. And there's 5 different software applications that I'm using, but it's going to be
Wow.
automated. Yeah, it's
Do you have a
exciting.
timeline for this?
Now I think hopefully I can get it done by the end of Q3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I could just shut myself off and do it, but it's pretty time consuming. But I'm excited. I use AI for writing complicated emails. When I have a certain situation, like I've had one with a lease where the seller, wanted them to pay for the painting, and we're releasing them from the lease 1 month early. And there were some other things tied to their deposit and some unpaid days, and just it's a good to dump it in there, your draft, and it comes out with a kind of polished workflow. I used it for another friend that needed to ChatGPT is great for other things, real estate related. I said I need a immediate 7 day, 30 play day, and a 1 day plan for someone that's getting sober and is dealing with
Wow.
issues. And they live in this city. And here's the government website there. And you would not believe what it had the 7 day, 30 day, and 1 year plan that it built. We're talking about 5 pages.
Wow.
And so that was great that way. There's a lot of family and friend related things you can do with it. So I'm also going to be using it for content creation. Have a write some. I run a lot of my copy through it. But one of the most important things people have to do when they get their end product from that, you have to read it because the large language models still have issues with giving you fake data or the wrong data, and you want to make it your own. It's not meant as an answer. Absolutely, you got to really then read it and rewrite it again from that. Did that answer your question? What else?
Yeah, absolutely. I always love this podcast keeps on giving and giving because I love being able to talk to so many people I've respected over the years, some people that I don't even know, and just to hear what they're currently focusing on or spending some time on. And AI, everybody, I guess that was 2024 was the year of AI, right?
Yeah,
Because it just totally was revolutionizing everything. Um, it's just I love being able to see agents that have been doing this for so long stay connected, stay passionate because they're learning something new
you have to be
with a new
curious,
tool.
and you have to be curious, and you have to always be learning. It's so key in this industry. Really, any industry now. I mean, people are not. I have a couple of these three. I have triplets, my brother's kids, and they're freshmen. And I've helped them come up with a summer plan to leverage AI. One of them wants to go into accounting, and he really doesn't know much about AI. But AI is the future with accounting. If you want to be an accountant, and if he wants a leg up uh, when he graduates, certain certifications he can get, certain case studies he's done, certain places that he's um, been an intern at will totally separate him apart. But if there's one thing I drill in the kids these days, or young kids is, or students is, you need to integrate AI with whatever your degree is going to be.
Right, right. So let's play the gratitude game. Although we call it a little bit different here. It's rose, rose, thorn, bud, but we throw in a little bit of twist of coffee, given the agent brew. So so this is instead of rose, rose, we start with the aroma. Just this morning when I was making my cup of coffee, I was thinking about this part of the show because when you freshly grind your beans, just that wafting of the aroma
Yeah.
is fantastic. So with that, the aroma, motivates you. It gets you out of bed. What gets you out of bed in the morning, Gerald?
I was thinking about this, and you can come up with a bunch of long lists, but when I was thinking about what gets me motivated the most, it's helping others. It's very simple, and we're in a business of helping people buy and sell real estate and solve
Yeah.
problems. And I'm grateful to have my health, and that I'm able to be a part of that and do that. And I think that comes with time in the business and age as well. But that's that's what motivates me. But we can talk about it later. When one of the things that I've done is I have a morning routine,
Okay.
and you want to talk about that now?
Well, let's talk about the next part, the next rose, which is the actual brew, that first cup of coffee. That it really sustains you, it gets you moving. One might say it's your why. What is your why?
Well, my why, I guess, would be my husband, John. He's a great husband. We've been together 23 years, and we got 20 years, 23 years. Yeah, we got married 3 years ago this October. Him and family, as
Yeah.
family becomes more and more important to us, and helping my dad out. I definitely did a lot when my mom was alive, and being able to be a role model or help out any way I can with my nieces. I've probably 24 nieces and nephews in Omaha, and like 8 of them are
Wow.
great nephews and nieces. And it was great. This last fishing trip, 2 of them were on the trip, 2 great nephews. And my why is just being able to kind of be around them, and with John building a future, We have a home. We have another home in Danbury, Connecticut. And yeah, owning a home is it's costly, but so rewarding, and it's just like our sanctuary in a way.
Yeah. So anything, the coffee grinds, um, which one might relate that to the thorns on a rose. Anything giving you frustration? Any obstacles you're currently seeing?
Well, I think that it's to change. Whenever you change companies, there's a little bit of a slow period, and I think it's tale of two worlds. If you talk to 10 agents, five of them are doing great this year, and the other five might be struggling, and that's just timing or luck or whatever it might be. I'm a little bit slower than I want to be, and coupled that with changing businesses has made it a little bit slower. But being living through 9/11, 2007, 2008 crisis, doing coaching and working through COVID really has kind of strengthened me to go through this too. And this too shall pass. I know. And yeah, I'm very excited about uh, the rest of this year and going into next year with the
Well, that is the best segue to then the fresh beans.
fresh.
What are you looking forward to? Is there any project? Is there something that you're about to announce or would like to announce? As far as new projects.
Well, yeah, I did one of them. I've hit on two of them, but I will announce when I finish my AI agent, and and hopefully I will be announcing at the same time my podcast, and hopefully you'll be my first guest, and I can have you come on and we can talk about my AI agent I built, which I don't think any other
I would love
agent
that.
has.
That's so great. I love learning, and that's one thing that the only thing constant is change.
Yeah.
So
So my fresh beans, my excitement really is AI and building my AI
yeah,
agent, my personal agent, and leveraging that into a podcast. Yeah. And also I would say coming new to Compass, I spend more time there than I have the last 6 years at my other place. It's a culture with great managers and great leadership, which is just something that I've been missing. Everyone's so great in terms of supporting each other and helping each other, and the management is really smart, and they're forward thinking, and that just really it's like how do I explain it? With those jobs you had in life, you're really excited to go to work.
it's almost old school. It reminds me of how when we first started in the business, it was all about the camaraderie. It was all about what you could learn by showing up and just being in the office and hearing and
Exactly.
soaking in the aesthetics in the background and everything going on. I have to say, I've been very impressed. As head of sales here at Royalty Co. Compass has been a really great company for us, being able to come in and sponsor different events. Like we did a lunch and learn one week, and then we've also did your Connect the Dots that had over 800 agents from the tri-state area. So I saw you there, and
That's great
Susan.
hearing you.
It was just the energy and just the energy behind everybody wanting to learn more, but then just being there.
Yeah,
And
there's like an aura, a force field, energy that gives off. Yeah,
well, I think that can be true of any industry if you really like the people you work with, right? Like
absolutely.
there's kinetic energy, and that's why I say I've been doing this over half of my life. I love real estate agents. I
Mhm.
really do. And there's nothing like doing a deal in Manhattan. Um, yes, the rest of the country is wonderful, but I just have to say, doing real estate here is like everything in New York. It's tough.
I tell my buyers and sellers it's real estate on Mars, and let me tell you why.
But it's just so worth it. And the agents here are just so versatile. And like you have to be, you wear so many different hats on so many different levels. It just makes it fun. And the people are interesting.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I was just say one other thing is it's so refreshing. It's so great when you got to deal with an agent and
Yeah.
if you know it's going to be easy peasy, and you're like, then it really is fun.
Or at least If it's not easy peasy, at least the person you're with is not going to make it as unbearable.
Yeah. I should not say easy peasy, but it's definitely great when you have the confidence, know the other side's going to get it done.
Great. Well, we've come to my favorite part of the podcast, and that is advice time.
Oh,
Yeah, Gerald, if you could give your young agent self a piece of advice, not a young agent today. So this is a deep dive for you. If you could give your young agent self a piece of advice, what would it be?
well, let's see. It's kind of boring, and I hit on it before, but I see so many agents years in the business still make this mistake, and I wish I had done a better job. Is really every single deal, adding it to a CRM or an Excel sheet, every single deal, and then having some type of follow-up CRM program, which, early on, we really didn't have that at Corcoran. And
Well, we didn't really look at business. It's amazing to think that for generations, people didn't look at this as a real business.
yeah.
You are the CEO of a major sales and marketing company,
hmm
your own company, that all the responsibilities fall on you to do it and get it right.
Yeah.
And so we were never given the tools or the mindset or, the know-how to really make all that work.
Yeah. Now it's couldn't be a easier or better way to do it now with the different AI tools. Forget AI tools, just the different apps and add-ons that they have. That and along with that, really having a consistent program for touching base with them, like a monthly newsletter, anniversaries, things like that. Because close to 80% of people do pick their next agent based on who they talk to last.
Oh, interesting.
They really lose the ups 5, 7, 10 years out. They're like, oh, did he move? Where's his contact information?
Right.
Yeah, it's showing up and contacting people. It's building your database from people who come to your open houses, people that you hit it off with that might do 3 showings with you on a property you're trying to sell them, but they never do. You got to have a touch point with them, and it's happened to me a number of times where it's come back to me. So yeah, communicating with them and talking to them is really important.
Well, we've loved having you on the Agent Brew season 1. We certainly hope that you'll come back in future seasons to visit us and report on your AI model. Any last comments as far as where you see your business going in the next 5 years?
I see it growing, and I see it brighter than ever, and I do see leaning in on technology is going to separate a lot of the agents from the others. In terms of their productivity and how it's gonna shake out. But you can never replace agents. The good thing about our business, same with a plumber, you need them to come in and crawl underneath the sink and fix the pipes. With real estate agents, that rapport and that trust and that personal interaction, it's such a high stakes asset. We're always going to be needed, but it's leaning in on different tools that'll help us make our job do it easier and better.
Yeah. So I always like to end each episode with a positive quote. I grew up with Zig Ziglar, and my father was a big fan of his. And so I picked a quote for today, and recognizing that you are not where you want to be is a starting point to begin changing your life. I'll say it again. Recognizing that you are not where you want to be is a starting point to begin changing your life. By Deborah Day.
Great.
So, Gerald Germany of Compass Manhattan, thank you so much for being a part of Agent Brew. I'm Eric Zollinger, your host, thanking you for joining us for yet another episode. Hope you come back and see future episodes also of Agent Brew Executive Sessions. I'm reminding you that it is a great day for real estate. The Agent Brew podcast is brought to you by RealtyCo. RealtyCo is your partner in real estate, bringing you game-changing benefits and services to empower your business. Visit realtyco.com for more information.